Hello ladies and gentlemen, I'm TWK and welcome to TWK Reviews, where I review whatever is on my mind. And today we're taking a look at Super Mario Odyssey, one of the greatest games of all the times, at least of the modern times. But before we get to the review proper, I gotta thank my Plus Ultra patrons, Bobber Castaneda of Bobber Reviews, and Ricky Relic of Relic619 on Twitter. And of course, gotta shout out my buddy Greg Haynes for his book, New World, and there we go, much better. New World, available right now on Amazon.com in paperback and digital forms for those with Kindle devices. Hey! Now, enough talking. I want to just give this review right now because I am super excited. Let's get to it. 3, 2, 1, go!
Scorn me and moan me, my failures are so toxic. So teach me and preach to me. This time I'm asking, oh, won't you show me just how you act so fucking miserably?
I've been waiting so long to talk about Super Mario Odyssey, so enough stalling, let's just do it! The gameplay is beyond crisp. I cannot think of another platformer that controls this well. 2D, 3D, 4D, 12D, throw in all the Ds, it does not matter because Super Mario Odyssey outshines them all. The main gimmick for this installment is the ability to take control of other living beings via throwing your cap at them. This is explained in kayfabe by having what is essentially a ghost-type being take the form of Mario's hat. This mechanic really reminds me of a classic game from the N64 from DMA Design, Space Station Silicon Valley. The main differences being that in SSSV, the animals were all mechanical and the gameplay was much more puzzle focused, whereas Odyssey is clearly still a collectathon with light puzzle elements. The best part of the ability to control other beings is how different they all control. Be it Goombas, Chain Chomps, tanks, a friggin' T-Rex! They all handle very uniquely, and I'm very glad these devs put in the work to make sure there weren't any excessive abilities, or at least none that I could find. Speaking of living beings, the absolute variety of races in this game is outstanding, especially for anyone that was around during the period where Nintendo was all, we're only using characters from the first 3 Mario games, aka the worst of times! There is nothing worse for a game than stifling creativity, and it's such a breath of fresh air to see new faces added to the Mario universe, my favorite of which being the inhabitants of Tostarena, who are essentially living sugar skulls. As someone who is partially of Mexican heritage, I cannot state how much I love seeing this. Just yes, give me more of these lovely people. The inhabitants of Shiveria were also pretty adorable. Then again, there really isn't anything new added that I outright hated, so they're all winners, really. On the topic of locations, this is another point in the game's favor. Each area is vibrant and unique, with no 2 worlds looking the same. To truly drive this point home, there are 2, count them, 2 water levels, and they both feel different. How rad is that? I also like how each area feels like an actual location. These aren't just levels for Mario to traverse through. These are people's homes, and outside of the RPGs, I have never had this feeling in a Mario game. It's because of this, and the fact that you're going from place to place in the world's most advanced weather balloon that gives Odyssey this feeling of being on a road trip. As someone who has spent many, and I do mean many days on the road over my 30 years of existence, it really makes me happy to see games like this and Final Fantasy 15 out there giving me these warm feels. Being on a road trip really is like nothing else, and while FF gives a more simulated experience, Odyssey gives us the grandeur, the spectacle of a long-distance journey. The most iconic location is easily New Donk City, and it is not difficult to see why. From the music, the urban setting, the more realistically proportioned people, and the sheer volume of residents, this is something I cannot recall ever seeing in a Mario game. NDC is also home to one of the more memorable moments of the entire game, a 2D platforming sequence complete with a recreation of the original Donkey Kong. As someone who had to beat the original DK on DK64, I could feel the nostalgia here, and it's accompanied by the most memorable song in the entire game, which I will not play here because I do not want Nintendo putting ads on this video. Alright, let's get down to brass tacks. What in the fuck are we doing throughout our journey? Collecting power moons, that's what, and these things are everywhere! I've seen a lot of guff thrown this game's way for the amount of moons to collect in order to 100% it, and if you're a completionist, then fair enough. I, however, am not a completionist. In fact, here are all the games I have ever completed.
Elbow でブロック。エルボードロップ。エルボーで返す。
Yeah, not a lot in the grand scheme of things, and I'm very much a casual gamer, although I am friends with quite a few of the completionist variety. I bring all of this up because I am almost certain that Odyssey was made with a casual mindset. Just collect what you want and move on. Getting 100% is not really a priority with this game, or at least that's the vibe I got from it. I did, however, give myself a goal, and that was in the post-game unlock the 8-bit hat, which costs 9,999 coins, which is the max amount you can carry. After that, I feel as though I completed Super Mario Odyssey in my own way. By the way, being able to wear so many different outfits is always a plus for me in a video game, especially since quite a few were added as free DLC. After the microtransaction-ridden 2K Battlegrounds, it's beyond refreshing to see a game have free outfits as updates instead of nickel and diming the players for them. In fact, I'm surprised there isn't a single bit of paid DLC for this game, period. Given how well it's sold, you would imagine that any downloadable content would sell like crazy. Props to Nintendo for showing restraint where others don't. In this day and age, that cannot be stressed enough. Alright, on to the negatives. First up, the boss battles are just fine, which isn't bad on its own, but compared to how everything else is an A+, seeing a B- or C+ is just that much more noticeable. Once again, nothing inherently wrong with them, they're just by the numbers Nintendo fights, especially the floating hands boss. Jesus Christ, Nintendo! You cannot go one generation without at least one game having this boss. Not one generation. Is this some running gag in corporate that we common folk just don't get? This one is less game related but more hardware, and it's the fact that I started to get the old Joy-Con drift while playing Odyssey. It didn't pop up all the time, but when it did, oh boy, was it infuriating. The 3 times where it was the absolute worst were the fight against the dragon, the penultimate level, and the final fight against the rabbits. I don't know what else to say other than I'm going to need to invest in a Pro Controller for the first time in my life sometime soon. The last thing I want to bring up are the post-game rewards. I already went over some of the outfits, but wait, there's more! In each level, you'll come across a cube that once you activate will give you more moons! That's right, finishing a game really is only half the game. On top of that, there's also Peach's Castle, which is a nice breezy level that feels like arriving home after a long, exhaustive trip. Once again, tying the themes of traveling all together. After finishing the game, you'll also run into Peach as you revisit all of the different levels, which adds a nice little objective to each level. On top of that, Luigi shows up to give you the most addictive activity I've ever seen in a 3D Mario game, balloon hunting. There are 2 modes here, finding a balloon hid by another player or hiding one yourself. Finding a player's balloon will net you some coins, and if you can find multiple in a row, then you'll get some bonus ones. You'll also get coins every time someone tries to find your balloon, as there's a fee in order to play. Luigi's gotta make that paper somehow, you know. This mode is a must if you want to get any of the post-game outfits or hats without days and days of grinding. To put this in perspective, almost each outfit costs over 1,000 coins, and after finishing one playthrough, I had just over 1,000. It should also be noted that you need a Nintendo account to do the Luigi game, but according to my research, not an active online account, which is good because this could have been an area where Nintendo could have easily nickel and dimed the player by forcing them to use their subscription service. And that's basically all I have to say about Super Mario Odyssey. This is a fantastically phenomenal game, and I couldn't be happier for it existing as it helped bring back the collectathon platformer, which brings me back to one of my favorite eras of gaming. Speaking of which, I should really get around to a Hat in Time one of these days, huh? That, however, is sometime in the future. What's next? Let's go to the unscripted me to find out. And that was my review of Super Mario Odyssey. I did it again. I have terrible habits this episode. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this video because this is officially the Season 1 finale. I was going to take a little break here to make a whole bunch of videos for Season 2. However, if you go to patreon.com/TWK reviews like our Class 1B patron, Casey, and more, aka the Evil Reverend, then you'll see videos as I complete them. But for the YouTube channel, you're going to have to wait a little while because I kind of want to sort of get these videos out on YouTube in a sort of regular basis. Kind of like what I've been doing here. I have no idea how I was able to get these last 3 videos out so quickly, but I have been doing that somehow, and that's what I'm doing for the future. I feel like I can't really keep up this type of schedule for YouTube. Just to keep going and going and going and going, keep making videos constantly. However, I can sort of get things up on Patreon at a relatively decent rate. And so if you go to Patreon, you'll be getting these videos on a regular basis, but I want to be able to get them up on Patreon first, and then get them start rolling out on YouTube, because that way it'll help with the algorithm, because if anyone knows how YouTube algorithm works, it's, oh boy, they love regular updates. If you're not posting super duper regular updates, the YouTube algorithm will just, there goes your channel. No relevancy whatsoever. So for Season 2, I want to sort of get some relevancy going. I want to get the subscriber base really up. We're almost at 30, but when Season 2 ends, I want to be at least 250 subscribers. That is my goal, baby! So if you want to help, just click subscribe. Also be sure to click the like button and tell me what you think of Super Mario Odyssey in the comments section below. And I'll see you guys next time in the next season. Oh, almost botched that last time, but I didn't. I'm going strong, baby. Let's go! Wahoo!
"俺たちは